Welcome back to a new episode of True Scary Stories, where real experiences turn into chilling tales whispered in the dark. These stories come from everyday people around the world. Moments of mystery, eerie encounters, and unexplained events that feel unsettling, yet strangely comforting. Perfect to listen to late at night. Let the stories wash over you, calm your thoughts, and gently guide you into sleep. If this is your first time here, make yourself comfortable, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. And I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments which country you re-watching from, and whether you re-listening to relax or fall asleep. We're building a global community of night listeners, and your presence means everything. Now, dim the lights, grab your blanket, close your eyes if you'd like, and let these true scary stories carry you into the night. Our first story begins now. I bought my grandma's abandoned house, cheap. Then realized someone had been secretly living inside it for years. True terrifying hidden stalker horror story. It started as the deal of a lifetime. In early 2025, after my divorce left me broke and directionless at 34, I got the call from the estate lawyer. My grandmother's old farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, northern Michigan, was mine if I wanted it. She had passed quietly the year before. No one else in the family claimed it. Too remote, too run down, too many bad memories. The place sat on 40 acres of thick pine forest. Last house on a dirt road that turned impassable after heavy snow. Price tag in the will. Basically free if I paid back taxes and utilities. I figured why not? Remote work as a graphic designer meant I could live anywhere, and the quiet might help me finally sleep without nightmares about my ex. I drove up in March, truck loaded with boxes, snow still knee-deep in spots. The house was a 2.5-story clapboard monster from the 1890s, peeling gray paint. Wraparound porch, half collapsed, tall gabled roof with missing shingles. Windows stared blank like empty sockets. Inside smelled of damp wood, mouse droppings, and the faint sweet rot of forgotten apples in the root cellar. Floorboards sagged, doors stuck, and every step echoed. But the bones were solid. Big kitchen with wood stove, 6 bedrooms upstairs, a massive unfinished basement, and an attic that ran the full length of the house. First few days were just hard labor. I hauled junk, scrubbed decades of grime, wired up Wi-Fi, set up my desk in the front parlor, overlooking the frozen lake through bare trees. Nights where cold radiators clanked like someone beating pipes with a wrench, but peaceful. No neighbors for miles. Only sounds. Wind in the pines, occasional owl, the house settling with deep groans. Then the small anomalies began. I'd wake up to find the kitchen wood stove warm, embers glowing faintly, when I'd let it die out completely the night before. Not hot enough to cook, just enough to notice. Coffee mugs appeared on the drain board, rinsed but not put away, steam rising like they'd been used minutes ago. I live alone, no one else has keys. I started double-checking locks, even wedged a chair under the back doorknob. By week 2 the smells hit. Not decay, comfort smells gone wrong. Fresh bread baking at 3 a.m., yeast and crust when my oven sat cold. Pipe smoke, cherry tobacco like Grandpa used before he died in '92. Lavender soap, strong and close, as if someone had just lathered up in the bathroom down the hall. I'd rush in empty, mirror fogged like a hot shower had run, drain still dripping. I installed cameras. Cheap ring ones at front back doors, one in the kitchen, one pointed up the main stairs. Motion alerts to my phone. First week, nothing but deer crossing the yard at dawn. Then one night, 2:41 a.m., kitchen cam clips a shadow tall, thin moving past the doorway toward the basement stairs. No face, just silhouette against the moonlight through the window. I replayed it 50 times. Could be a glitch, low-light artifact. But the shadow paused, turned slightly, like it heard something, then gone. I searched the basement next morning. Stone walls, dirt floor in spots, old canning jars, rusted tools. In the far corner, behind a stack of moldy cardboard, a narrow wooden panel flush, no handle, painted over. I pried it with a crowbar. Behind it, a hidden room, maybe 8 by 10 feet, carved into the foundation dirt. Low ceiling, barely 6 feet. Signs of long-term habitation, sleeping bag on foam pad. Empty tuna cans, protein bar wrappers, dates from late 2024 onward. Portable camping stove, propane bottle half used. Bucket toilet with lime sprinkled on top, battery-powered lantern. And clothesmen's jeans, flannel shirts, socks folded neatly. Smell thick. Unwashed skin, stale breath, old sweat soaked into fabric. My stomach dropped. I called the sheriff. Deputy showed up 2 hours later, young guy, skeptical. Probably a drifter using it winters, he said. Your grandma was sick last few years, house empty a lot. Could have slipped in through the coal chute. But the wrappers were fresh. No forced entry upstairs. No tracks in snow outside. They took photos, said they'd look into it. Advised new locks, motion lights, maybe bear spray. I bought all of it that afternoon in town. That night I couldn't sleep. Sat in the kitchen with lights on, Grandpa's old double-barrel shotgun loaded on the table. Around 1:15 a.m., power flickered, then died. Total black. Generator in garage wouldn't start, later found spark plug wire cut clean. Silence except wind. Then noises from above. Footsteps. Slow, heavy, third-floor hallway pacing. Back and forth like someone impatient, waiting for me to come up. I grabbed flashlight and shotgun, crept stairs. Third floor, mostly empty bedrooms, dusty furniture under sheets. Footsteps stopped when I reached the landing. I swept beam nothing. But attic access door always latched shut was hanging open. Pull down stairs extended, wood steps surprisingly sturdy despite years of neglect. I climbed. Attic cavernous, rafters like a ship's hull. Dust thick as snow. Boxes labeled in Grandma's handwriting. Christmas, baby things never used. Edward's hunting gear. In the northwest corner, behind a broken wardrobe, the nest. Blankets arranged in a circle. Pillows from downstairs guest room. Small electric heater, cord running to a hidden outlet. Stack of my own books novels I'd left in the parlor. Notebook on top. I opened it, handwriting shaky but legible, not mine, but eerily similar. Entries dated back to before I arrived. February 10th, 2025. He signed papers today. Coming soon. Cleaned the kitchen for him. February 28th. First night. Sleeps heavy. Left bread out. He ate it. Smiled. March 5. Cameras now. Careful. But he doesn't check attic. Yet. March 12th. Smelled the pipe. Reminds him of Edward. Good. Keeps him here. Dozens of pages. My daily routines, when I shower, what I cook, how I talk to my ex on the phone late at night. The night I cried into a pillow after a bad day. How I leave lights on when scared. Last entry yesterday, March 19th. Found basement room. Called sheriff. They left. He stays. He belongs now. Like she belonged. Tonight I bring him up. Show him the family album. Make him understand. Taped inside. Polaroid. Me asleep in bed. Taken from ceiling corner. Angle impossible without ladder. Timestamp scrawled, 3:02 a.m., 2 nights ago. My face slack. But in the shadows behind the headboard, a figure crouched, watching. Pale hand resting on the quilt edge near my shoulder. Notebook fell. Attic door slammed behind me. Stairs retracted with violent snap. Darkness absolute. Phone light died. Breathing started slow, ragged inches from my neck. Voice low, cracked, almost familiar like Grandma's, but rum too wet, too hungry. You came home, baby boy. We've been waiting. Your grandma promised you'd come back. Stay. We're family, I screamed. Pumped shotgun. Fired into black. Flash illuminated. Dust swirling. Old dresses ripping. Face pale. Gaunt. Eyes wide and white ducking behind beam. Recoil threw me against rafter. Ears ringing. Silence. I found pull cord in panic, yanked stairs down. Fell more than ran. Barricaded attic with heaviest trunk. Grabbed keys, wallet, phone, ran to truck. Headlights swept upstairs windows, 2 silhouettes now, standing close, watching me reverse down the drive. Drove 40 miles to nearest motel. Didn't sleep. Morning. Called realtor. Listed house is, quick sale. It sold in days to some out-of-state investor. Never went back inside. Now I rent a small condo in Ann Arbor. Bright lights, security building, cameras in every hall. But I still wake at 3:02 a.m. Smell fresh bread. Find a clean coffee mug on my counter rinsed. Steam rising, handle pointed toward the window like Grandma always did. I don't drink coffee anymore. Last week, I found a Polaroid slipped under my door. Me, asleep in my new bed. Time stop. Last night, angle from the ceiling fan. And in the corner of the photo, just out of focus, a pale hand reaching toward the lens. I keep the shotgun loaded by the bed. I don't go in the attic anymore. I don't go anywhere alone anymore. Because sometimes, late at night, I hear footsteps in the hallway outside my locked door. Slow, patient, waiting for family to come home. I was 35, single after a messy breakup, and scraping by on freelance writing gigs when the letter arrived in early 2025. My Aunt Clara, my mom's older sister, the reclusive one no one really talked to, had passed from a heart attack in her sleep. She left everything to me, a small life insurance payout, and her isolated cabin in the dense forests of northern Wisconsin, about 2 hours from the nearest real town. The place was off-grid-ish, solar panels, well water, wood heat, but wired for basic internet. Clara had lived there alone for nearly 30 years after her husband vanished. One winter, family rumor said, he just walked into the woods and never came back. No one visited. She liked it that way. I drove up in late April, truck bed full of boxes, snow still patchy under the pines. The cabin was bigger than I remembered from childhood visits. 2 stories plus a full attic, log exterior, weathered gray, wide front porch with a swing that creaked in the breeze. Inside smelled of pine resin, old books, and a faint musty sweetness like dried herbs gone bad. Hardwood floors, stone fireplace, narrow staircase to the second floor, and a pull-down attic ladder in the upstairs hallway ceiling. Windows looked out on nothing but trees, endless dark green walls closing in. First weeks were almost therapeutic. I set up my laptop at the kitchen table facing the back window, where deer sometimes wandered past. I chopped wood, built fires, cooked simple meals on the propane stove. Nights were quiet except for the wind rattling branches and the occasional hoot of an owl. The house made its own sounds, logs popping in the cold, floorboards shifting, but nothing alarming. I told myself the isolation was good for my head. Then the oddities crept in slowly, so subtle I dismissed them at first. I'd wake up and find the kettle warm on the stove, steam still curling, when I'd sworn I hadn't boiled water the night before. A single plate left on the counter clean, but with faint crumbs like someone had eaten toast quietly. The wood stove ashes rearranged slightly, as if someone had poked the embers hours after I banked them. I started noticing smells next. Not rat-homey ones, twisted. Fresh coffee brewing at 4 a.m., rich and dark, when my pot sat empty. Cinnamon from the spice rack, like someone had sprinkled it on oatmeal. Pipe tobacco cloying, cherry wafting down from upstairs, even though no one smoked. And lavender, Clara's favorite sachet scent, so potent it felt like she had just walked by crushing the dried buds. I laughed it off as grief playing tricks, but then the lights. I turned everything off before bed, kitchen bulb, porch lantern, hallway sconce. Every few nights around 3:42 a.m., I started noting times. The hallway light would glow softly under my bedroom door. Not flickering. Steady. Purposeful. I ordered motion sensor cameras online for cheap ones with app alerts. Front door, back door, kitchen, upstairs hall facing the attic hatch. First nights. Raccoons on the porch, wind-blown leaves. Then one clip, 2:56 a.m. Upstairs hallway pitch black. The attic hatch cord sways slightly, like pulled and released. No one visible. Just the cord moving, then the light switch flips on by itself. I froze the frame, zoomed, nothing. But the cord had been still when I went to bed. I searched the attic the next day. Pulled down the ladder wood, creaked, but held. Up there, dust thick as carpet, old trunks labeled in Clara's neat script. Winter clothes. Letters, 1990s. Robert's things. Holiday decorations, broken furniture. In the far corner, behind a stack of yellowed newspapers, a section of insulation pushed aside. Behind it, a makeshift space. Low ceiling sloped, maybe 5 feet high. Sleeping mat from foam, thin blanket. Empty water bottles. Brand I drink. Protein bar wrappers, dates from January 2025 onward. A small LED lantern. Batteries fresh. Bucket with lid for waste, sprinkled with baking soda. And a notebook plain black, spiral bound. I opened it with gloves from the kitchen. Handwriting small, precise, not mine, but eerily close and slant. Entry started months before I arrived. January 17th. Clara gone now. Quiet again, but he will come. Family always returns. February 3rd. Read his emails on the router log. Writing from home, sad about the girl. He'll need this place. March 12th. Fixed the kettle timer. He likes coffee hot first thing. Left crumbs testing. April 2nd. Cameras up. Smart. But attic blind spot. Good. April 20th. Arrived today. Sleeps light. Heard him breathing. Reminds me of Robert before he left. Pages detailed my life. What I ate when I typed late. The night I called my ex crying. How I paced the porch when anxious. How I left the back door unlocked once by mistake. Last entry 2 days ago, May 8th. He found the kettle warm. Noticed smells. Cameras checked. Time to prepare. Tonight he climbs. Tonight he learns we're not alone. My hands shook. I backed down the ladder, slammed the hatch, dragged a heavy dresser in front of it. Called the county sheriff. 2 deputies drove out. Took 3 hours. They crawled the attic, found the nest, took photos. Long-term squatter, one said. Your aunt was sick. House empty stretches. Probably used the woods access, old hunter's trail. But wrapper's fresh. No tracks outside ground too hard. No forced entry. They said change locks, add floodlights, consider a dog. Left me their card. That night I sat downstairs, every light blazing, Clara's old hunting rifle across my lap loaded. 30:06, safety off. Around 1:20 a.m., the power cut. Not a surge just gone, solar inverter silent. Generator in shed wouldn't crank. Later found fuel lines sliced. Darkness total except moon through windows. Then sounds. Upstairs footsteps. Slow, deliberate, second floor hallway. Pacing outside my old childhood bedroom. Pause. Doorknob turned soft click. Locked. Footsteps retreated. Then attic hatch creaked open above me. I grabbed flashlight and rifle. Crept stairs. Second floor empty doors closed. Attic hatch wide, ladder down. I climbed beam shaking. Dust motes danced. Trunks undisturbed. But the nest expanded. My pillow from downstairs added. Blanket arranged like a bed for 2. New notebook page taped open. Fresh writing. Tonight. Rifle loaded good. But he won't shoot family. Clara said you'd understand. Robert left because he couldn't stay. You will. Behind the trunk a figure crouched. Tall, thin, hooded sweatshirt. Face pale, eyes reflecting light like animal. Not moving. Just watching. I raised the rifle. Who the hell are you? Voice low, cracked. Almost Clara's timbre, but male wrong. I'm the one who stayed. When Robert ran. When Clara waited. Family doesn't leave family. He stood slowly. Hands up, no weapon. But something in his posture. Familiar. Like old photos of Uncle Robert, but aged wrong, starved. I fired warning shot into rafter. Wood splintered. Dust rained. He dropped, scrambled behind beams. I backed down ladder, yanked it up, chained the hatch with bike lock from garage. Ran downstairs, grabbed keys. Truck wouldn't start, battery cables cut clean. I sprinted into woods moonlit trail toward road. Branches clawed, heart exploding. Made it to highway, flagged a logging truck. Got to town motel, morning, called tow realtor. Sold cabin sight and scene, cash as is. Buyer was a developer, didn't care. Now I live in a Milwaukee apartment. High-rise, doorman, cameras everywhere. But I still wake at 3:42 a.m., smell coffee brewing, find a plate on my counter, crumbs fresh, kettle warm. Last month, mail slot rattled. Envelope no stamp. Inside, Polaroid. Me asleep in my bed here. Time stamp. 2:56 a.m. last week. Angle from ceiling corner. In shadows behind headboard, a thin figure crouched. Watching. I sleep with the rifle now, loaded, safety off. Because sometimes in the hallway outside my door, I hear pacing. Slow. Patient. Waiting for family to come home. I turned 36 in the spring of 2025, freshly laid off from my IT job in Chicago. Credit cards maxed, and no real ties left after my long-term girlfriend moved out. When the probate lawyer called about my Uncle Harlan's estate, it felt like a lifeline. Uncle Harlan, my mom's brother. The quiet Vietnam vet no one saw much after the 80s had died alone in his sprawling farmhouse outside rural Iowa. Heart failure, they said. The place was 80 acres of cornfields and woods, last on a gravel county road that flooded every spring. Will left it all to me. House, land, old barn, even the rusty 72 Chevy in the drive. Taxes paid up, utilities still on. I could sell it quick or live there rent-free while job hunting remote. Seemed like fate. I drove out in early May, U-Haul packed with what little I owned. The farmhouse was bigger than photos showed. 3 stories of faded white clapboard. Wraparound porch sagging under wisteria vines. Tall gambrel roof with dormer windows like dark eyes. Inside. Wide plank floors, beadboard walls. Massive stone fireplace in the living room. Kitchen with a wood-burning cook stove, narrow back stairs. And a full attic accessed by a pull-down ladder in the upstairs hallway. Basement below dirt floor in parts, stone walls, old root cellar door. Smelled like aged cedar, pipe tobacco ghosting the air, and faint mildew from leaky gutters. First month was productive. I cleared junk, fixed the Wi-Fi extender, set up my desk in the sun porch, overlooking the back fields where deer grazed at dusk. Chopped firewood, learned to use the stove, cooked simple meals. Nights were peaceful crickets, distant coyotes, house settling with deep wooden sighs. I slept in the master bedroom upstairs, big iron bed Uncle Harlan probably bought in the 70s. Heavy quilt smelling faintly of mothballs and Old Spice. The anomalies started small, easy to ignore. I find the kitchen stove warm in the morning embers red when I let it die out completely. A coffee mug rinsed and inverted on the drain board, steam curling like used seconds ago. I didn't drink coffee much anymore, gave it up after anxiety spikes, but the mug was always my favorite one. Blue ceramic with a crack I never fixed. Then smells intensified. Fresh cornbread baking at odd hours, cornmeal and butter, when pantry was bare of mix. Cherry pipe tobacco drifting from the study, strong enough to make my eyes water, though no pipes remained. Lavender from sachets. Clara, Harlan's late wife, died 95, used to make crushed fresh, not dusty. Lights next. I'd kill every switch before bed, porch, kitchen, hallway, bedroom. Around 3:51 a.m., I began logging times on my phone. The upstairs hallway sconce would glow under my door. Soft amber. Steady. No flicker from bad wiring. I bought cameras, 4 Wisecams with night vision, app notifications. Front door, back porch, kitchen, upstairs hall facing attic hatch. Early clips. Wind, moths at porch light. Then one night, 2:37 a.m., hallway cam, darkness. Attic pull cord sways gently, like tugged and let go. Light switch flips up alone. No shadow. Cord stills. Light stays on 17 minutes, then off. Next day I climbed the attic. Ladder solid despite age. Up there, dust inches thick, trunks of old clothes, Clara's dresses, 1980s. Boxes of yellowed letters, Vietnam memorabilia, medals, faded photos of young Harlan in uniform, holiday lights tangled. In northeast corner, insulation bats pushed aside, revealing a gap between rafters and exterior wall, maybe 3 feet wide, low crawl space running length of house. Inside, signs of life. Mattress pad on plywood, wool blanket, water jugs, my brand. Energy bar wrappers, expiration 2025. LED lantern dim but charged. Bucket toilet with sawdust cover, and journals, 3 composition books, black covers. I opened the top one. Handwriting tight, slanted similar to Harlan's, but shakier, younger somehow. Entries from years back. October 2018. Harlan weaker. Cough worse. He knows I'm here. Leaves food scraps. Doesn't call cops. Family. March 2020. Pandemic. He talks to me through vents sometimes. Says sorry for Nam, for leaving me. Jan 2023. Clara's birthday. Lit candle in attic. He smelled smoke, came up. First time we spoke face-to-face in 20 years. Pages chronicled routines, Harlan's meals, TV habits, nightmares he muttered in sleep, how he left plates out intentionally, how he whispered apologies at floor grates. Then shift recent dates after Harlan's death. April 15th, 2025, nephew coming, read will at Lawyer. He looks like Harlan young, sad eyes. Will need watching. May 3rd, arrived, unpacked, sleeps in big bed. Snores like Harlan. Left cornbread testing. May 12th. Cameras. Smart. But walls blind spots. Vents good. Can hear heartbeat through plaster. Dozens more. My showers timed. Late night pacing. Phone calls to old friends venting about job loss. Night I broke down crying over X. How he wrote. Cried like Harlan after Clara. Needs family. I am family. Last entry. Yesterday. May 28th. Found stove warm. Smelled pipe. Checked cams. Time close. Tonight bring him in. Show letters. Make him stay. Harlan promised blood stays. My pulse roared. I retreated. Slammed hatch. Pushed old dresser over it. Called sheriff deputy. Arrived slow. Rural response. Crawled walls. Attic. Found nest. Took evidence bags. Long-term relative maybe. He muttered. Harlan had a brother no one talks about, ran off young. Maybe came back hiding. Or squatter who knew family, but wrappers fresh, no entry points obvious. No fingerprints. Advised reinforced locks, floodlights, security system upgrade. I ordered everything overnight. That night I barricaded in living room lights on. Harlan's old Winchester lever action on lap, loaded .30 to 30, shells in pocket. Around 1:45 a.m., power dropped. Inverter and barn silent, found wires cut next day. Moonlight only, sounds began. Inside walls scratching, slow movement between studs. Like crawling, pausing at vents. Breathing close hot, ragged through floor register near couch. Then attic. Footsteps overhead. Heavy. Pacing hallway length. Stop. Hatch creak. I grabbed flashlight, rifle, ascended stairs quiet. Upstairs empty. Hatch open, ladder down. Climbed beam trembling. Attic changed, nest bigger. My pillow added. Harlan's old photo album, open pages of family. Me as kid visiting, Harlan young with a boy who looked like me but thinner, eyes hollow. Figure stepped from shadows tall, gaunt, mid-50s, maybe beard matted, clothes layered flannels. Face like Harlan's but sunken, eyes fever bright. Who? Name's Ellis, voice gravel. Harlan's boy. Born 68. Mama Clara left when pregnant, said Harlan, too broken from war. Raised me hidden. Harlan found out late. Let me stay in walls, said family secret. When he died, promised you'd come. Blood calls blood. He smiled, teeth yellow. You look just like him, sleep same. Cry same, stay, I'll show you vents. How to live quiet. Like us. I leveled rifle. Get out. He raised hands, no weapon. But step closer. Can't, Harlan said if you leave. I follow. Family doesn't abandon. I fired ceiling shot. Plaster rained. He dropped, scuttled into rafter crawl. I backed down, chained hatch with padlock, ran downstairs. Truck battery dead cables severed. Sprint to road 2 miles gravel. Lungs burning. Flag passing semi at dawn. Got to town, motel, shaking. Called realtor next day. Sold farm as is. Quick cash to investor. Never returned. Now I rent a secure condo in Des Moines gated cameras, 4th floor. But I wake at 3:51 a.m. Smell cornbread. Find coffee mug, warm my blue one. Crack visible, steam rising. Last week, envelope under door. No address. Inside Polaroid me asleep here. Timestamp 2:37 a.m. 2 nights ago. Ceiling angle. In corner shadow. Thin figure crouched. Watching. I keep Winchester by bed. Loaded, safety off. Because sometimes in vents, scratching, slow. Patient. Family coming home. I was 33, completely broken financially and emotionally by mid-2025. My startup had collapsed. Savings gone, relationship over, and I was sleeping on friends' couches in Denver until even that dried up. When a Craigslist ad popped up for a fixer-upper farmhouse in rural eastern Colorado, $400 a month. Utilities included, no credit check, owner motivated, I didn't hesitate. The photo showed a 2-story white clapboard house on 5 acres, surrounded by flat prairie and distant windbreaks of cottonwoods. Isolated, sure, but quiet. Perfect for rebuilding, or at least hiding. I drove out in late June in a borrowed pickup with everything I owned in garbage bags. The road turned to gravel after 20 miles, then dirt. No neighbors visible for at least a mile in any direction. The house sat alone under a huge sky, paint peeling in long curls. Porch roof sagging, windows dusty but intact. Inside smelled of dry wood, old varnish, and something faintly metallic like pennies left in a jar too long. The layout was simple but big. Large living room with brick fireplace. Eat in kitchen, downstairs bedroom. I claimed immediately. Narrow staircase to the 2nd floor, 3 empty bedrooms, and a bathroom. Full unfinished basement and an attic accessed by a rickety pull-down ladder in the upstairs hallway closet. Floors creaked predictably. Doors stuck in summer humidity. Radiators hissed even though it was 95 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I set up my laptop on the kitchen table facing the back window where the prairie stretched flat and endless toward the horizon. First few weeks were monotonous but peaceful. I applied for remote jobs, cooked ramen on the ancient gas stove, fell asleep to cicadas and the occasional coyote yip. The first thing I noticed felt harmless. The kitchen faucet would drip at night slow, rhythmic plink-plink, even after I tightened it until my fingers hurt. I'd get up at 2 or 3 a.m. to shut it off, only to find the handle already turned all the way. I blamed old plumbing. Then the smells started creeping in, not bad ones at first. Fresh coffee at dawn when my Mr. Coffee sat cold and empty. Warm biscuits flaky, buttery around midnight, though I hadn't baked since college. Pipe tobacco, sweet and woody, drifting from the living room fireplace, even though the flue was closed and no ashes had been touched in years. I started keeping a journal on my phone because the little things piled up too fast to dismiss. July 12th. Found the back porch light on at 4:18 a.m. I distinctly remember switching it off before bed. Bulb was still warm. July 15th. Woke up to the sound of a chair scraping across the kitchen floor, slow, deliberate. Got up. Kitchen empty. One of the ladderback chairs moved 6 inches from the table. No footprints in the dust. July 19th. Smelled pipe smoke so strong I thought someone was in the house. Searched every room. Nothing. But the living room rocking chair was rocking very gently back and forth. Stopped the second I stepped in. I bought cameras next. 4 battery-powered Wise cams with motion detection and cloud clips. 1 in the kitchen, 1 in the living room facing the fireplace. 1 upstairs hallway aimed at the attic ladder. 1 outside on the porch. Installed them July 22nd. First few days, jackrabbits, wind-blown tumbleweeds, me walking around half asleep. Then the clips started. July 26th, 3:07 a.m., kitchen cam. Total darkness except moonlight through the window. A shadow tall, thin slides across the frame from left to right. No features. Just silhouette. Pauses at the sink. Turns slowly toward the camera. Stands motionless for 42 seconds. Then glides out of frame toward the basement door. I watched it on loop until my eyes burned. No sound except my own breathing in the room. I searched the basement the next morning with a flashlight and a claw hammer. Stone walls, dirt floor, old canning shelves, rusted tools, a coal chute door boarded shut. In the far corner, behind a stack of moldy cardboard boxes labeled Christmas 1998, a section of drywall had been carefully cut and replaced seams, taped and painted over, but slightly raised. I pried it open. Behind the wall, a narrow space, maybe 18 inches wide, running between studs the full length of the house. Crawl height about 4 feet, dirt floor. Someone had been there a long time. Thin foam sleeping pad. Threadbare blanket. Plastic gallon jugs of water, some half full. Empty tuna cans, cracker boxes, protein bar wrappers, all recent brands. Expiration dates 2025 to 2026. A small solar-powered lantern. A 5-gallon bucket with lid for waste. Smelled faintly of bleach. And notebooks 4 spiral-bound, pages filled front to back. The handwriting was small, neat, obsessive. Dates started in 2019. October 3rd, 2019. New renters left after 2 months. House empty again. Good. Quiet. February 14th, 2021. Watched the couple fight through vent. She cried all night. Reminds me of Mom. Hundreds of entries. Descriptions of previous tenants who came, who left, what they ate, when they fought, when they had sex, when they cried alone. Detailed observations through floor vents, wall cracks, attic peepholes they drilled and patched. Then the shift entries about me. June 28th, 2025. He arrived. Alone. Tired eyes. Unpacked garbage bags. No photos on walls yet. Good sign. July 4th. Smelled my coffee. Looked confused. Left mug out. Testing. July 10th. Moved chair to see reaction. Froze when he entered. Heartbeat fast through floor. Scared. Perfect. July 18th. Rocking chair worked. Sat in it after he went to bed. Watched him sleep from vent above bed. Snores like Dad used to. Familiar. Last entry night before I found the space. July 25th. Cameras now. He's getting closer. Basement next. If he finds me, maybe time to introduce. He's alone. No one will hear. Family now. My hands shook so hard the notebook pages rattled. I backed out, replaced the drywall panel as best I could, ran upstairs, locked every door. Called the county sheriff. Deputy took almost 2 hours to arrive. Rural response times. He crawled the space, took photos, shook his head. Could be a drifter using it for years. House sat empty a long time between renters. Or maybe the previous owner knew. Some people let strays stay if they're quiet. He paused. But those dates, fresh food. No tracks outside. Weird. He recommended deadbolts, motion floodlights, a better alarm. Said they'd look into it. I never heard back. That night I didn't sleep. Sat in the living room with every light on, kitchen knife on the coffee table, baseball bat beside the couch. Around 1:40 a.m. the power cut. No storm, no lightning, just darkness. Inverter in the shed silent. Found wires cut the next day. Then the sounds. Inside the walls slow scraping. Like fingernails dragging along drywall, pausing at each vent register. breathing deep, nasal, close enough I could almost feel the heat through the floor grate under the couch. Upstairs, footsteps. Heavy. Pacing the hallway. Stop at the attic ladder closet. Ladder creaked down slow, deliberate. I grabbed flashlight and bat, crept upstairs. Hallway empty, attic door wide open, ladder extended. I climbed rungs shaking under my weight. Attic, rafters like ribs, dust thick, old boxes, insulation bats. In the southwest corner, behind a broken dresser, the nest had grown. My throw blanket from downstairs couch. My pillow. One of my t-shirts folded neatly. A new notebook open on top. Fresh page. July 26th. Found wall space. Read journals. Panicked. Called police. They left. He stays. He belongs now. Tonight I come down. Show him the peepholes. Explain we've been family since he moved in. He'll understand. No one else will take him. Beside the notebook, Polaroid camera. Stack of developed photos. Me asleep in bed taken from above, ceiling vent angle. Time stamp written in marker. 3:12 a.m. July 24th. Another. Me in shower steam obscured but unmistakable shot through drilled hole in bathroom wall tile. Another. Me crying on couch after a job rejection call close enough to see tears. Last photo dated that morning, me prying open the basement wall space. My own terrified face looking straight at the camera. Someone had been watching me watch them. Breathing started behind me slow, excited. I spun. Flashlight caught him. Mid-40s maybe, gaunt, long graying hair, beard matted, eyes wide and pale in the beam. Wearing layers of old clothes flannels, hoodie jeans worn to white threads. He smiled slow, almost gentle. You read them, he whispered. You know now. I've been here longer than you've been alive. Watched families come and go. But you stayed, you're different. Like me, alone, quiet. We can share. No more hiding. I swung the bat. Missed. He dropped low, scuttled behind rafters like a spider. I backed down ladder, yanked it up, slammed closet door, dragged heaviest dresser in front. Ran downstairs. Grabbed keys. Truck started, thank God. Peeled out down the dirt road, headlights bouncing, heart slamming against ribs. Drove 70 miles to nearest motel. Didn't sleep. Next morning called landlord old man in Denver. He sounded annoyed. Figured someone might be in there, place sat empty years. Didn't want to scare renters? I hung up. Listed house on Zillow, for sale by owner motivated. Sold in 3 days to flipper who never asked questions. Now I live in a bright, noisy apartment in Aurora 3rd floor, deadbolt, chain, ring camera inside and out. But I still wake at 3:07 a.m., smell coffee brewing. Find a rinsed mug on my counter, my blue one from the old house, crack still there, steam rising. Last Tuesday, envelope slid under door. No stamp, inside, single Polaroid, me asleep in my current bed. Time stamp, 2:41 a.m., 3 nights ago. Shot from the ceiling corner, impossible angle. In the shadows behind the headboard, thin silhouette crouched, watching. I sleep with the bat beside the bed now. And sometimes very late, I hear it. Soft scraping inside the wall beside my pillow. Slow, patient, waiting for me to come home. I was 34, freshly divorced, job barely paying the bills, and staring down the barrel of eviction notices when a real estate listing appeared in my feed in late summer. 2025. Handyman special minus 3-bed, 2-bath fixer-upper. $89,000. Cash only, motivated seller. The photos showed a modest single-story ranch house on a quiet dead-end street in a fading suburb outside Tulsa, Oklahoma. Built in the 1960s. Brick exterior. Small fenced yard. 1-car garage. Nothing fancy, but it had a roof and walls. And the price was low enough that my small inheritance from my grandmother could just cover it after closing costs. I drove down the next weekend with a U-Haul trailer of mismatched furniture and boxes. The neighborhood was sleepy older folks mostly. Lawns neat but not manicured. Kids' bikes chained to porches. The house smelled like stale cigarette smoke, lemon pledge, and something faintly sour underneath, like wet cardboard left too long. Hardwood floors under worn carpet in the living room. Linoleum in the kitchen, popcorn ceilings, narrow hallway leading to 3 small bedrooms and 1 bathroom. Basement stairs off the kitchen, steep, wooden, unfinished concrete below with exposed joists. Washer-dryer hookups, water heater, and a single bulb hanging from a cord. I moved in fast. Set up my desk in the spare bedroom that faced the backyard chain link fence. Remote customer support job meant headphones and Zoom calls all day. Nights were quiet except for the hum of the old fridge and the occasional car passing on the main road, 2 blocks away. I told myself this was a fresh start. Paint the walls, fix the leaky faucet, maybe plant something in the yard. Normal life. The first week passed uneventfully. Then the small things began piling up like dust in corners. The kitchen light would be on when I came home from grocery runs, even though I always turned it off. Not bright dimmed, almost to nothing, like someone had twisted the bulb halfway out. I'd flip it fully on, leave, come back hours later, dim again. A single glass of water appeared on the counter some mornings. Room temperature, half full, no condensation. I live alone. The basement door, solid wood with an old slide bolt, would be unlatched when I went to do laundry. I started checking it obsessively before bed. Locked, bolted, every time. Then the sounds. Not creaks or settling. Deliberate. Soft thumps under the floorboards in the living room, right beneath where I sat watching Netflix. Like someone shifting position on concrete. A faint scrape, like fabric against rough surface. Breathing, sometimes slow inhalations through the nose. Muffled but unmistakable, coming up through the heating vent near the couch. I pulled up the vent register one afternoon with a screwdriver. Dust bunnies, dead bugs, nothing else. But the duct was wider than it should be. Someone had cut and reattached a section crudely with duct tape. I shone my phone flashlight down. Saw only darkness and the glint of foil tape. I bought cameras. 6 cheap battery-powered ones with motion alerts. Living room, kitchen, hallway, basement stairs, front porch, back door. Installed them over one weekend in September. The first alert came at 3:14 a.m. on September 12th. Basement stairs cam. Total darkness except the faint glow from the streetlight leaking through a small high window. A shape human, crouched, moves slowly up the stairs. Stops 2 steps from the top. Head tilts, listening. Then retreats backward, silent, disappearing into black. I watched the clip 20 times, heart in my throat. Called the police the next morning. 2 officers came. One older, one trainee. They walked the house. Basement, attic. Small crawl space above the drop ceiling, no access except through a panel in the hallway closet. Found nothing out of place. Could be a transient using the crawl space under the house, the older one said. These older homes have gaps. Someone could have pried a vent or foundation crack. We'll do a welfare check on nearby homeless reports. They left me with advice. Reinforce the basement door, get a chain lock, maybe motion lights. I did all of it that afternoon. Deadbolt on basement door. Chain. Bright LED floods outside every entrance. That night the power flickered once, brief brownout, then steady. Around 2:47 a.m., the living room vent rattled softly. Not wind, something tapping from below. 3 times, pause. 3 times again. I sat up on the couch, phone in hand, flashlight beam trembling. The tapping stopped the second the light hit the grate. Next morning I tore into the basement ceiling. Pulled down acoustic tiles one by one. Found it in the southwest corner above the laundry area. A rectangular section of drywall, about 3-4 feet, had been cut out and screwed back with mismatched screws. Paint didn't quite match. I unscrewed it carefully. Behind it, a hidden room carved into the joist space. Maybe 6 feet long, 4 feet wide, 3.5 feet high. Dirt floor, cardboard laid down as flooring. Thin camping mattress, sleeping bag. Plastic storage bins with clothes, men's medium, faded jeans, hoodies, socks. Stack of paperback books, thrillers, true crime, LED lantern. Solar charger plugged into an extension cord that snaked through the foundation wall to who knows where. Food wrappers, protein bars, tuna pouches, instant noodles, all brands I buy, my brands, and journals. 5 spiral notebooks. I opened the first one with gloves from under the sink. Handwriting neat at first, then increasingly frantic. Entries dated back to 2022 previous owners. March 2022. Young couple. Loud arguments. She left May. He drank. Moved out August. Quiet again. October 2023. Family of 4 kids upstairs. Heard crying at night. Mother sang lullabies. Nice. Stayed 8 months. Foreclosure. Then me. July 15th, 2025. New owner. Alone. Male. 30s. Quiet. Unpacks slowly. No pictures. Good. July 28th. Watches TV loud. Same shows every night. Laughs at nothing. Lonely. August 10th. Cried in shower. Long time. I listened through pipe chase. Felt bad. Left water glass. Comfort. September 5. Cameras. Smart. Basement blind spot. Good. Can still move at night. Hundreds of pages. My routines cataloged in detail. Shower times, sleep patterns, what I ate, when I talked to myself. The night I called my ex at 1 sobbing, how I paced the living room when anxious. Last entry 2 nights before. September 10th. Found vent rattling. Pulled tiles tomorrow. If he sees room, maybe time. He's alone. No one checks on him. I can be company. He needs it. Like I needed it? My stomach turned inside out. I replaced the panel, screwed it loosely, ran upstairs, locked the basement door with the new deadbolt and chain. Called the police again. Different shift. They came, took more photos, crawled the space, found the hidden room. This is beyond squatter, one said. This is organized, long term. We'll get forensics, maybe prints off the bins. They told me to stay with family or a hotel until they cleared it. I had no family nearby. Booked a cheap motel 15 miles away. That night, September 13th, I couldn't stay at the motel. Anxiety caught me. I drove back around 1 a.m. to grab clothes and my laptop. House dark, power still on. I crept inside, flashlight only. Living room smelled wrong sweat, unwashed hair, faint metallic tan. Basement door was open, chain dangling. Deadbolt turned. I froze. From below, soft voice, male, calm, almost kind. You came back. I bolted upstairs to the bedroom, locked the door, barricaded with the dresser. Called 911. Whispered the address. Operator said stay online. Footsteps on stairs. Slow. Patient. Knocking on bedroom door. Gentle. 3 times. I read your divorce papers. In the box you left in the garage. I'm sorry she left. I know how it feels. I've been alone here longer than you've been alive. We can talk. No need to be scared. I didn't answer. Just breathed into the phone. Door handle turned. Rattled. Stopped. Silence. Then scratching. Slow. Nails on wood. Circling the doorframe. Police arrived 22 minutes later. Sirens finally. Lights flashing through curtains. They cleared the house. Found the hidden room empty. Sleeping bag gone. Bins gone. Journals gone. Only the cut drywall and screw holes remained. They searched the yard, crawl space under the house, nearby woods. Nothing. Told me it was likely he slipped out a foundation vent when he heard sirens approaching. Advised I don't stay there alone. I never slept in that house again. Listed it the next week. Sold at a loss to a cash investor who flipped it fast. Never asked why I was selling. Now I rent a small second-floor apartment in Midtown Tulsa. Busy street, neighbors above and below. Doorman after 10 p.m. Ring camera inside the unit. But I still wake at 3:14 a.m., smell coffee brewing my exact roast. Find a half-full glass of water on my kitchen counter. Room temperature. No condensation. Last month an envelope appeared under my door. No stamp. No address. Inside. Single photo printed on cheap paper. Me, asleep in my current bed. Shot from the ceiling vent above my closet. Timestamp scribbled in pen. 2:47 a.m. 3 nights ago. In the bottom corner, barely in frame, a pale hand resting on the edge of the mattress. I don't have vents in the ceiling here. I sleep with the lights on now, and a kitchen knife under my pillow. Because sometimes very late, when the building is quiet, I hear slow tapping, 3 times, pause, 3 times again. Under the floor, waiting. I was 37 when it happened. Late 2025, both my parents gone within months of each other. Dad, from a sudden stroke. Mom from what the doctors called complications, but everyone knew was a broken heart. The house in suburban Ohio, the one I'd grown up in, was left to me in the will. A modest 2-story colonial on a tree-lined street, built in the 70s. Brick front, attached garage, finished basement, small attic crawl space. Nothing special, but it was paid off. No mortgage. I was between jobs after a layoff, divorced with no kids. So I packed what little I had and moved back in December. Figured the familiarity would help. Or at least the free rent would. The place smelled like it always had. Faint vanilla candles Mom loved. Old books from Dad's study, carpet cleaner, and that underlying musty scent from the basement vents. Floors creaked the same way third step from the top of the stairs always groaned. Kitchen linoleum still had the burn mark from when I was 12 and left a pot on too long. My old bedroom upstairs was untouched, posters faded, twin bed with the same blue comforter. I set up my laptop in the dining room, overlooking the backyard where the swing set rusted under snow. Remote freelance editing gigs kept me afloat. Days blurred into nights of work, takeout, and falling asleep to the hum of the furnace. First couple weeks were quiet, almost comforting. I define comfort items misplaced in small ways. A coffee mug rinsed and set on the counter when I hadn't used one, the thermostat turned down to 68 degrees Fahrenheit overnight, even though I kept it at 72, the garage light left on dim when I turned it off. I blamed grief fog, memory slips, old wiring. Then the smells started turning wrong. Not rot homie scents gone sour. Fresh baked apple pie at 4 a.m., cinnamon and crust, when the oven was cold and no apples in the fridge. Pipe tobacco dad's old cherry blend wafting from the basement stairs though. He quit smoking in '98. Vanilla candles burning low in the living room when none were lit. Lavender from mom's sachets, crushed fresh like someone had just squeezed them. I started noting times. Around 3:29 a.m., I logged it obsessively. The hallway light upstairs would click on softly. Not full bright dimmed, like twisted halfway. I'd creep down, flip it off. Back to bed. Morning, on again. I installed cameras. 8 cheap motion ones with night vision, front door, back door, kitchen, living room, basement stairs, upstairs hallway, garage, even one pointed at the attic access panel in the hallway closet ceiling. App alerts to my phone. Early clips. Nothing but me shuffling around, snow falling outside. Then January 8th, 2026, 2:51 a.m., basement stairs cam. Darkness. A faint outline human, crouched low, moves up the stairs backward, silent. Pauses at the top step. Head turns toward the camera lens, stands motionless for 1 minute 14 seconds. Then retreats down, vanishing into shadow. I replayed it until my eyes watered. Called the police. Officer arrived. Walked the house. Basement. Attic crawl. Found nothing. Old houses have critters. Raccoons sound human sometimes, but no fur, no droppings, no tracks in dust. He left. I reinforced. Deadbolts everywhere. Chain on basement door. Motion floodlights outside. Slept with a baseball bat by the bed. The sounds escalated. Not random. Deliberate. Soft footsteps in the walls between studs parallel to the hallway when I walked upstairs. Pausing when I paused. Breathing through floor vents, deep, controlled inhales under the couch where I sat watching TV. A low hum sometimes, like a voice whispering just below hearing. February came. Snow piled high. Power flickered during a storm out for 20 minutes. When it returned, the basement door was unlatched. Chain on floor. I hadn't touched it. I went down with flashlight and bat. Concrete floor, washer, dryer, old shelves of holiday decorations, water heater. In the far corner, behind the furnace, a section of drywall about 4 by 6 feet had fresh screw holes. Paint slightly mismatched. I pried it loose. Behind the wall, a hidden chamber carved into the joist space and foundation dirt. Roughly 8 feet long, 5 feet wide, 4.5 feet high. Dirt floor covered in old carpet remnants. Thin mattress pad, sleeping bag. Plastic bins, clothes, men's large, flannels like dad's, jeans, socks, some with holes. Canned food, brands I buy. Water bottles, my brand. Solar lantern. Extension cord snaked through a drilled hole in the foundation to an outlet outside. Bucket toilet with lime. And notebooks, 7 composition books. Handwriting started neat, then obsessive. Entries from 2004 when I was 15. Summer 2004. Family away on vacation. First full week alone in house. Quiet, safe. Dug first section behind furnace. No one hears. Pages detailed observations of my family. Dad's routines, mom's gardening, my teenage moods. How they left food scraps sometimes intentionally. Near vents. Shift to recent. December 2025. Parents gone. House empty weeks. Then he returns. Looks older. Tired. Sleeps in old room. Snores same as dad. Left pie smell. Testing. January 10th, 2026. Cameras. Careful. Basement blind spots. Can still watch through vent grates. He paces when anxious. Like dad did. Hundreds of pages. My shower's timed. Late night calls to friends. The night I cried over old photos. How I talked to myself. How I left lights on when scared. Last entry 3 days before, February 3rd. Found wall panel loose, read notebook soon. If he sees, time to meet. He's family, been watching since he was kid. Promised parents I'd stay hidden. Protect the house. He needs me now. Alone, I'll show him the peepholes. Explain we're not strangers. Photos taped in, Polaroids. Me asleep in bed ceiling vent angle. Me in shower wall hole. Me crying on couch. Last one. Me prying drywall in basement. My terrified face, taken from inside the hidden room. Notebook dropped. Breathing started behind furnace slow. Excited. I backed out, replaced panel loosely, ran upstairs, chained basement door. Called police again. They came, found room empty, mattress gone, bins gone, only screw holes. He must have heard you coming, slipped out foundation vent. No prints. Advised leave house. I couldn't. Sold nothing yet. Stayed in motel nearby. But anxiety pulled me back nights to check. February 5th, 10th storm raging. Drove home 2 a.m. house dark. Basement door open again. Chain cut. Inside. Living room smelled of pipe tobacco and apple pie. Fresh. From basement. Voice. Male. Low. Familiar cadence like dad's but wrong. Too soft. Come down. We need to talk. Been waiting years for you to come home. I grabbed phone, flashlight, back, crept stairs. Basement lit dim lantern glow from hidden room. Figure stepped out. Mid-50s, gaunt, gray hair long, beard patchy, eyes sunken. Wearing dad's old flannel shirt, same one from photos. I'm Alice, he said. Your uncle. The one they never talked about, born 68. Dad's secret. Mom, your grandma sent me away. Harlan, your dad found me years later. Let me stay hidden. Said family protects family. I watched you grow. Protected the house when you left for college. When parents died. Waited for you. He smiled, teeth crooked. You looked just like him. Sleep same, cry same. Stay, I'll show you vents. How we live quiet. You're not alone anymore. I swung bat. Missed. He ducked. Scuttled into shadows. I ran upstairs, barricaded doors, fled to car. Truck wouldn't start, battery cables cut. Sprinted through snow to neighbors. Called 911. Police arrived. Searched. Found room stripped. No one. I never went back inside alone. Realtor sold as is quick. Cash buyer. Now I live in a downtown Columbus apartment, high floor, security, cameras. But I wake at 3:29 a.m., smell apple pie. Find coffee mug, rinse dad's old one. Chip on rim, steam rising. Last week, envelope under door, no address. Inside, Polaroid. Me asleep here, timestamp 2:51 a.m. last night. Ceiling vent angle impossible. In shadows, thin figure crouched. Pale hand on mattress edge. I keep that by bed. Lights on. Because sometimes. Footsteps in hallway, outside door. Slow. Patient. Family coming home. It was the spring of 2026. And I was 38 years old when a letter from a Nebraska County tax office found its way to my tiny apartment in Boise. My grandfather's farm. 160 acres of grassland. A 2-story farmhouse. A barn. A silo. All of it had been sitting empty since he died back in 2011. My mom, his only child, passed away from cancer in 2014, making me the last living relative. The property taxes hadn't been paid for years, and now the county was finally giving me a choice. Pay the $18,000 bill or watch it all go to auction. I had nothing tying me down. My freelance work was remote, my savings were slim, and rent was crushing me. Paying those back taxes felt like buying a second chance at something real. So, I sold my furniture, packed everything I owned into my Subaru, and drove east for 2 straight days across empty highways. The farm was just as I remembered it from childhood summers. The gravel drive lined with cottonwood trees, the white house with its big porch and green metal roof, the old windmill groaning in the breeze. Inside, it smelled of dust, old linoleum, and the faint, sweet decay of forgotten hay bales. I set up my life in the downstairs master bedroom, the same room my grandparents used, with its big oak bed and heavy quilt. For the first month, I worked nonstop clearing out mouse nests, scrubbing away decades of grime, and wrestling with the ancient oil furnace. At night, the silence was absolute, broken only by the wind rattling loose shutters or the distant yip of coyotes. I'd fall asleep to the sounds of the old house breathing, the joists popping and pipes ticking in the cold. Then the strange things started. So small at first, I thought I was imagining them. A single plate, washed and set neatly on the drain board, when I'd been eating off paper for days. The back porch light on at dawn, the bulb still warm when I knew I turned it off. The embers in the kitchen wood stove, still glowing red in the morning when I'd banked it dead the night before. Then came the smells. Comforting smells that became unsettling. Fresh cornbread, baking around 3 in the morning when the oven was cold as ice. The scent of my grandpa's old pipe tobacco drifting from his study. A room where no one had smoked since 2008. The smell of lilacs from the bush outside, but inside, strong and fresh, like someone had just walked past carrying a bouquet. I started keeping a log on my phone. March 14th. Hallway light upstairs was on at 3:37 a.m. I live alone, I never go up there. March 19th. Found the coffee pot, half full and warm. It was my exact dark roast. I hadn't made any. March 27th. Woke up to the rocking chair in the living room moving. A slow, steady creak that stopped the second I walked in. That was it. I bought cameras, 10 of them. I put them everywhere. The kitchen, the living room, the pantry with one aimed right at the crawl space trapdoor, the basement, the upstairs hall, both doors, the barn, the driveway. At first, the motion alerts were just rabbits and foxes. But then, on April 2nd at 2:44 a.m., I got an alert from the pantry camera. The footage was dark. Then, the trapdoor in the floor lifted up just a few inches, held open by pale, thin fingers. A shadow slid out, crouched for a moment, listened, and then dropped back down. The trapdoor closed without a sound. I watched that clip over and over until the sun came up. I called the sheriff. The deputy took 4 hours to get there. He checked the whole house, even crawled into the crawl space with his flashlight. He found nothing. He told me it was probably raccoons, that they can lift hatches if they're not latched tight. But there were no claw marks, no fur, nothing. He left. I wasn't taking any chances. I screwed the trapdoor shut with 3-inch deck screws and added a heavy padlock. I installed motion-activated floodlights all around the house. I started sleeping with my grandpa's old 12-gauge shotgun, loaded right beside my bed. That's when the sounds moved from the house to right beneath my feet. I'd walk down the hallway, and I'd hear slow movement in the floor joists, perfectly matching my steps, pausing when I paused. I'd be eating at the kitchen table and hear breathing coming up from the floor registers deep, slow inhales. At night, I'd hear a faint scratching directly beneath my bed. 3 slow scrapes. A pause. Then 3 more. On April 15th, a thunderstorm knocked out the power. I went to the barn to start the generator, but it wouldn't turn over. The next day, I found the spark plug wire had been cut clean through. I was plunged into total darkness, lit only by flashes of lightning. And then I heard it, footsteps, inside the crawl space, directly under the living room. Pacing back and forth, slowly. Then it stopped. And I heard breathing, hot and close, rising from a floor vent right near the couch. I sat there, frozen, shotgun across my lap, my phone's flashlight trembling in my hand. The second I aimed the light at the vent, the sound stopped. The next morning, I ripped up the carpet in the living room corner. There it was. A section of the subfloor, about 2 by 3 feet, had been cut out and screwed back down with mismatched screws. The paint on them was fresh. I unscrewed it and looked down into the crawl space. 20 feet from the main trapdoor, there was a hidden living area. The joists were reinforced with scrap wood. Carpet remnants covered the dirt floor. There was a thin foam mattress, a sleeping bag, and plastic bins filled with men's clothes, some with my old college logos on them, things I'd left in storage. There were cans of soup and protein bars, my exact brands and flavors. Water jugs, a solar lantern, a bucket for a toilet, and binders. 8 of them. They were filled with notebook paper, covered in small, precise handwriting. The entry started in 2012, the year after my grandpa died. November 2012. House empty, first winter alone. Dug deeper crawl section. No one comes. Safe. He chronicled the empty years, the weather, the animals, the few times realtors walked through the house and how he avoided them. Then, the entry shifted to 2026. January 2026. Grandson returns. Looks like young Harlan, sad, unpacks slow. No wife kids, good, February 10th. Smelled cornbread, left crumbs. Testing hunger, March 5th. Cameras everywhere, smart. Crawl blind spots. Can still watch through floor gaps. He sleeps light. Heartbeat fast when scared. He logged my entire life. My shower times, what I cooked, my late night work sessions, even the night I called an old friend, drunk and crying about my mom. The last entry was from 4 days earlier. April 10th. Found trapdoor screwed. Read binder soon? If he sees. Time. He's alone. No one checks on him. Been family guardian since Grandpa. Promised I'd stay hidden. Protect the place. He needs someone. I'll show him the peepholes. Explain we're not strangers. Clipped inside were Polaroids. Photos of me asleep in my bed, taken from the floor vent below. A picture of me in the shower, taken through a hole near the basement pipes. A photo of me crying on the couch. The last one was a picture of me, at that very moment, unscrewing the subfloor, my face twisted in terror, taken from inside the crawl space. Then I heard breathing, slow and close, right behind me. I threw the subfloor panel back down, ran upstairs, padlocked the pantry door, and barricaded the basement stairs with a heavy table. I called the sheriff again. This time they came and found the crawl space empty. The mattress, the bins, everything was gone. Only the screw holes and scraps of carpet remained. Heard you coming. Slipped out a foundation vent, the deputy said. I left that night. I drove to a motel and listed the house as is the next day. It sold immediately to a developer. I live in a secure apartment building now. 3rd floor, key card entry, cameras in the halls, but sometimes I wake up at 2:44 in the morning. I smell cornbread. I find a single rinsed plate on my counter, my old childhood plate, the one with the chip on the edge, with fresh crumbs on it. Last week, there was an envelope under my door. No stamp. Inside was a Polaroid of me, asleep in this very bed, timestamped 3 nights ago. The angle was impossible from a floor vent that doesn't exist in this building. And in the corner of the photo, there was a thin silhouette, crouched low, a pale hand resting near my pillow. So I sleep with the shotgun now. The safety is off. Because sometimes I hear it. Slow pacing. Under the floor. 3 scrapes, a pause. 3 more. Just waiting for me to come home. Thanks for listening. I inherited my grandfather's remote ranch house after he vanished. Then realized someone had been secretly living in the crawl space under my floors watching every move for decades. True terrifying. Long-term hidden stalker family horror story. 2026 I turned 39 in early 2026. Scraping by on sporadic freelance graphic design gigs in a cramped Reno apartment, when the certified letter arrived from a Wyoming law firm. My grandfather Elias, whom I hadn't seen since I was 14, had been declared legally dead after 15 years missing. Nobody ever found. He simply walked into the back 41 winter morning in 2011 and never returned. The ranch 320 acres of high plains scrub, a 2-story frame house, outbuildings, and a windmill that still turned lazily was mine if I claimed it and paid minimal back taxes. The photos attached showed the place unchanged. White clapboard faded to gray, wraparound porch sagging, tin roof rusted red, surrounded by endless shortgrass prairie under a sky that felt too big. I had no ties left. Ex-wife remarried, no kids, parents gone years ago. The ranch was free real estate in a way remote enough for quiet work. Cheap enough to fix up and flip later if needed. I drove the 800 miles in my old Jeep, trailer hitched with tools, clothes, and a mattress. The gravel road off Highway 287 was rutted, dust choking the air. The house sat alone, no neighbors for miles, only the windmill creaking and prairie dogs chirping. Inside smelled of dry cedar, old saddle leather, and faint mouse urine. Wide plank floors, beadboard walls, big stone fireplace in the living room. Kitchen with a wood cook stove, steep stairs to the 2nd floor. 3 bedrooms, clawfoot tub bathroom. Unfinished basement with root cellar door and low crawl space under the entire main level accessed by trapdoors in the pantry floor and basement ceiling joists. First weeks were survival mode. I cleared rodent nests, patched roof leaks, wired solar for internet, learned the quirks of the propane heater. Nights were vast silence whined through cottonwoods. Distant coyote howls. House settling with deep wooden groans. I slept in Grandpa's old room downstairs, iron bed, heavy wool blanket, window facing the porch where he'd sit smoking his pipe at dusk. The small disturbances began innocently enough. A coffee can rinsed and inverted on the drainboard when I drank instant from mugs. The porch light glowing faintly at dawn, bulb warm though I'd flipped it off. The wood stove embers red in the morning when I damped it cold. I blamed absent-mindedness, grief, old habits resurfacing. Then the smells invaded. Not DK familiar ones, possessive. Fresh biscuits baking at 4 a.m., lard and buttermilk oven untouched. Pipe tobacco Grandpa's Prince Albert, cherry thick in the study, no pipe in sight. Sagebrush and prairie grass crushed fresh, like someone had walked the fields and brought the scent inside. I started timing them. Around 3:41 a.m., the upstairs hallway light would click on dim steady glow under my door. I'd check empty, back to bed, morning, on again. I ordered cameras, 12 units wise and blink mix battery and wired. Kitchen, living room, pantry, trapdoor view, basement stairs, upstairs hall. Porch front back, barn, driveway, even low-angle ones in basement pointing at crawl access hatches. Early clips mundane. Then April 18th, 2:59 a.m., pantry cam. Pitch black. Trapdoor lifts 3 inches slow pale hand holding edge. Shadow emerges crouched tall stands listening, head cocked. Drops back down. Door closes without sound. I froze the frame. No face. Just silhouette. Watched loop until nausea hit. Called county sheriff deputy 3 hours out. Crawled crawl space, flashlight sweeping. Nothing. Varmints maybe. Or wind shifting boards, no tracks, no debris. He left. I doubled down. Screwed trapdoors shut with lag bolts. Added hasps and padlocks. Floodlights motion triggered. Slept with Grandpa's Remington 870 shotgun 00 buck loaded, chambered, safety off beside bed. Sounds intensified. Inside joists, slow. Deliberate crawling parallel to my path across rooms. Pausing underfoot when I stopped. Breathing nasal, controlled through floor vents beneath couch, kitchen table, bed. 3 soft knocks from below at night. Pause. 3 more, like signaling. May 3rd storm knocked power. Generator failed, fuel line sliced next day. Blackout except lightning. Footsteps under floor living room pacing exact length of room. Stopped under vent grate. Hot breath rising felt on ankles when I sat frozen. Morning. Tore carpet corner living room. Subfloor section cut. Screwed back mismatched. Unscrewed. Crawl space low 18 to 24 inches dirt floor. Cobwebs, insulation sagging, southeast corner, expanded area, joists braced. Carpet scraps down, mattress pad, sleeping bag. Bins, clothes, men's large faded Carhartt, some patched with my old childhood jeans fabric from storage. Canned beans, my brand. Energy bars, exact peanut butter, water jugs. LED lantern solar charged. Cord through foundation vent, bucket toilet. And Ledger's 10 spiral notebooks, meticulous. Handwriting started clean 2011 Grandpa's disappearance here. November 2011, Elias gone, walked out. House mine now. Dug deeper. No one looks. Chronicled empty years, weather logs, animal sightings, rare surveyor visits avoided, then my arrival. Jan 2026, grandson back. Looks like Elias young, alone, sad, unpacks careful. No family photos out, good. February 20th, left biscuit crumbs. Smelled. 8. Testing. March 5th, cameras up. Smart boy. Crawl blind spots. Watch vents, sleeps restless. Mutters mom's name. Lonely. Pages cataloged everything. Shower duration, food eaten, late night calls venting grief. Pacing patterns, how I left porch light on scared nights. Night I sobbed over old letters described tears, breathing. Last entry 5 days prior, May 1st. Found trapdoor bolted. Read ledgers soon? If sees, introduce. Promised Elias at guardhouse. Family secret. He left me here. Protect bloodline. Grandson needs watcher. Alone. Show peepholes. Explain not intruder. Family. Polaroids clipped. Me asleep from vent below bed. Me showering pipe chase hole. Me crying on porch swing. Last. Me unscrewing subfloor face horrified. Shot from crawl darkness. Breathing behind coast excited. Replaced the floor loosely. Ran up, padlocked everything. Barricaded basement. Called sheriff, arrived room stripped. Only holes. Heard you. Out vent or barn tunnel. No prints, advised vacate. I tried, motel in Cheyenne, but pulled back nights check. House called. May 22nd thunderstorm. Drove home 1:30 a.m. porch light on. Warm. Inside. Pipe tobacco heavy. Biscuit smell fresh plate on counter. Crumbs. Basement door unlatched. Padlock cut. Downstairs lantern glow from crawl corner. Voice low, cracked, almost grandpa's cadence but younger, hungry. Come see, been waiting. Elias said you'd come back someday. I'm the one stayed. Guarded. Watched you grow up summers. Hid when you visited. Elias knew. Let me. Family duty. Figure emerged. 50s, gaunt, long gray hair, beard, eyes feverish. Wearing Elias's old denim jacket, same patches. I'm Caleb, your uncle. Born 72. Elias's secret boy. Mama sent away. Elias found later. Let me live hidden. Promise protect ranch. When he vanished, I stayed. For you. Smile teeth stained. You look like him. Walk same. Sleep same. Cry same. Stay. Teach you crawl ways. Quiet life. Not alone anymore. Leveled shotgun. Leave. He stepped closer. Can't. Elias said if blood leaves, follow. Family doesn't abandon. Fired warning ceiling. Dust rained. He dropped. Scrambled shadows. Ran up. Barricaded. Truck battery dead cables cut. Sprinted road 3 miles gravel. Flagged rancher truck. Sheriff came. House empty. Room gone. Sold as is cash. Never returned. Now Denver high-rise apartment secure. Cameras 8th floor. Wake 2:59 a.m. Smell biscuits. Plate rinse grandpa's old tin one. Dent same. Crumbs. Last week envelope under door. Polaroid me asleep here. Time stamp 3:41 a.m. last night. Floor vent angle impossible. Shadows. Crouched figure. Pale hand near pillow. Shotgun by bed. Loaded because late nights. Slow crawling. Underfloor. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. Waiting family home. I was 41 in the summer of 2026, living in a noisy Portland apartment that felt more like a cage than a home. My father had passed suddenly the year before a heart attack while splitting firewood at his remote cabin in the Cascade Mountains of Oregon. The place was 40 acres of dense fir and cedar, no neighbors for miles, accessed by a rutted logging road that turned to mud in rain and ice in winter. He'd built it himself in the 80s after my mom left us, calling it his retreat. I hadn't visited since I was 19. Too many arguments, too much silence. The will left it to me outright, no debts, no strings. I figured selling it would give me breathing room, but first I needed to clear it out, assess repairs, maybe spend a week there to decide. I drove up in late June, Jeep packed with cleaning supplies, a generator, sleeping bag, and enough groceries for 2 weeks. The road narrowed to gravel, then dirt, branches scraping the sides like fingernails. The cabin emerged through trees. Single-story log structure with a stone chimney, wide porch, tin roof patched in places, windows shuttered. Inside smelled of pine resin, wood smoke, old coffee grounds, and the faint metallic tang of rust from the wood stove. Wide plank floors, open living, kitchen area, small bedroom. Bathroom with clawfoot tub fed by a spring line. Unfinished basement accessed by exterior bulkhead doors, stone walls, dirt floor, water heater, shelves of canned goods, and a low crawl space under the main floor trapdoor in the pantry floor and another in the basement ceiling. First days were productive. I swept cobwebs, aired rooms, started a fire in the stove, set up my laptop on the kitchen table facing the back window where deer sometimes grazed. Internet was satellite slow but functional for emails. Nights were pure dark stars sharp overhead, wind sighing through trees, occasional owl or coyote. I slept in Dad's old bed pine frame, heavy quilt smelling of lanolin in him. Comforting at first. The oddities crept in slowly, so subtle I dismissed them as isolation playing tricks. A coffee pot rinsed and set out when I drank from mugs. The porch lantern glowing dim at dawn bulb, warm though, I doused it. Stove embers red mornings when I'd banked it dead. A single plate with biscuit crumbs on the counter flaky, buttery, though I hadn't baked. Smells followed. Fresh cornbread at 3 a.m. cornmeal, baking grease oven cold. Pipe tobacco Dad's old cherry Cavendish thick in the study. Pine sap crushed fresh, like someone had walked the woods and tracked it inside. I logged times obsessively. June 28th. Upstairs light, unused since arrival. On at 3:52 a.m. Dim glow under door. Checked empty. July 4th. Found rocking chair on porch moving slow creak stopped when I stepped out. July 12th. Woke to soft thump under floorboards kitchen right beneath table. Like weight shifting, I bought cameras. 14 units wise mix kitchen, living room, pantry trapdoor, basement bulkhead, porch, driveway, woods trailhead, low basement crawl hatch, even one in bedroom vent register. Early clips, deer raccoons. Then July 19th, 2:17 a.m., pantry cam. Darkness. Trapdoor lifts 4 inches slow pale fingers gripping edge. Shadow emerges, crouched, tall, stands listening, head tilted. Drops back, door closes silent. Frozen frame, no face, silhouette only. Watched until eyes burned. Called county sheriff deputy 5 hours out. Crawled, space nothing. Old houses shift, animals. No prints, no debris, left. Reinforced. Lag bolted trapdoors, padlocks, hasps. Motion floods outside. Slept with dad's old Winchester. 30 to 30 loaded, chambered by bed. Sounds escalated. Crawling in joists parallel to footsteps when I paced. Pausing underfoot. Breathing deep, nasal through floor vents under couch, bed, table. 3 soft scrapes from below at night. Pause. 3 more. Signaling. July 30th thunderstorm. Power out. Generator dead, fuel line cut next day. Lightning flashes. Footsteps under floor, living room, pacing room length. Stopped under vent. Hot breath rising, felt on skin when sat frozen. Morning, pride, living room, floor corner. Subfloor cut, screwed, mismatched. Unscrewed. Crawl low 18 to 24 inches, dirt, cobwebs. Northwest corner, expanded. Brace joists, carpet remnants. Mattress pad. Sleeping bag. Bins, clothes, men's XL, flannels like dad's. Some my old shirts from storage. Canned chili, my brand. Bars, exact flavor. Lantern solar, cord through foundation vent. Bucket toilet. Ledger's 12 notebooks. Handwriting neat, 2011, dad's vanishing year. No post, 2011. December 2011. Elias missing. House mine. Dug deeper, quiet. Empty years, logs, wildlife, avoided searches. My arrival. June 2026. Grandson returns. Looks Elias young, alone. Grieving, unpacked slow. No visitors. Perfect. July 5th. Left crumbs, 8. Testing. July 5th, 10th. Cameras. Careful. Crawl blind. Vents watch. Sleeps light. Mutters dad's name. Lonely. Detailed. Showers timed, meals, calls crying grief, pacing anxious. Night sobbed over dad's old letters, tears, breaths described. Last entry 6 days prior, July 13th. Trapdoor bolted. Read ledgers, if sees, meet. Promised Elias guard cabin. Family secret. Stayed hidden. Protect blood. Grandson needs me. Show vents. Explain not stranger. Family. Polaroids. Me asleep from vent below. Showering pipe hole. Crying porch. Last. Unscrewing floor, terrified face. From crawl dark. Breathing behind close, ragged. Replaced floor. Ran up. Locked all. Barricaded. Called sheriff. Arrived room empty. Holes only, slipped vent or woods. No prints, advised leave. Tried motel Roseburg, pulled back nights, August 8th storm. Drove home 1 a.m., unglow porch. Warm, inside. Tobacco heavy. Cornbread smell, plate crumbs, dad's tin, dents same. Bulkhead open. Padlock cut. Basement lantern glow crawl. Voice low, familiar cadence but wrong. Come down, waiting. Elias said blood returns. I'm Caleb, your uncle. Born 74, secret. Elias found me. Let's stay hidden. Guarded when gone. Watched you summers. Hid. Promised protect. Figure. 50s, gaunt, gray hair. Beard, eyes bright. You look him. Walk same. Sleep same. Cry same. Stay. Teach crawl. Quiet life. Not alone, leveled rifle. Out. Stepped closer. Can't. Elias said follow blood. Family never abandons. Fired warning joist. Dust. Dropped. Scrambled. Ran up. Barricaded. Jeep dead, cables cut. Ran road 4 miles. Flagged logger. Sheriff came. Empty. Sold cash as is. Now Seattle condo high floor. Secure. Wake 2:17 a.m. Smell cornbread. Plate rinse dad's tin. Crumbs. Last week envelope. Polaroid me asleep. Timestamp 3:52 a.m. Last night. Vent angle. Shadows. Crouched. Hand near pillow. Rifle by bed. Loaded. Nights. Crawling under floor. 3 scrapes. Pause. 3 more. Waiting home. I finally visited my deceased mother's forgotten lake house after 12 years. Then found proof a complete stranger had been secretly living inside the hidden attic space the entire time. True terrifying long term. Hidden Stalker Attic Horror Story 2026. I was 42 in the fall of 2026. Stuck in a dead-end marketing job in Minneapolis when the property tax notice arrived from my mother's old lake house in northern Minnesota. She had passed in 2014 from a sudden aneurysm, and the place had sat empty ever since. No one in the family wanted the responsibility or the memories. It was a modest two-story cedar-shingled cottage on a private bay of a large northern lake, built in the 1970s, with a wraparound deck, stone fireplace, small dock, and thick pine woods pressing in on 3 sides. The will had left it to me as the only child, but I'd ignored it for years. Too painful, too far, too much upkeep. The back taxes were only $9,200, and with remote work now possible, I decided to drive up for a week, clean it out, decide whether to sell or keep it as a weekend escape. The drive north took 6 hours highway giving way to county roads, then gravel, then a narrow dirt track lined with birch and tamarack. The house appeared through the trees like a ghost. Faded green shutters, moss on the roof shingles, windows reflecting gray sky. Inside smelled of damp cedar, mildew from old rugs, cold fireplace ash, and the faint sweet rot of lake water that had seeped under the foundation over the years. Hardwood floors throughout, open living, dining, kitchen area. 2 small bedrooms and a bath downstairs. Steep stairs to the 2nd floor, 1 large bedroom with lake view, full bath, and a full attic accessed by a pull-down wooden ladder in the upstairs hallway closet ceiling. Basement below concrete floor, stone walls, water heater, old freezer, and a small root cellar door. First few days were exhausting, but strangely peaceful. I aired out rooms, scrubbed decades of dust, started fires in the fireplace, set up my laptop on the dining table facing the lake where loons called at dusk. Internet was spotty satellite enough for emails and light work. Nights were dark and quiet, lake lapping the dock, wind in pines, occasional barred owl. I slept in the upstairs bedroom, mom's old room, big brass bed, quilt smelling faintly of her lavender soap, window open to the cool night air. The disturbances began small and easy to rationalize. A single teacup rinsed and set on the counter when I drank from mugs. The porch light on at dawn, bulb still warm though, I'd switched it off. Fireplace embers glowing red in the morning when I damped them dead. A plate with fresh scone crumbs, flaky, buttery currants, on the kitchen island, though I hadn't baked anything. Smells arrived next. Fresh cinnamon rolls baking at 4 a.m., yeast, sugar, spice oven cold and empty. Pipe tobacco, mom's father's old cherry blend drifting from the upstairs hallway, though no pipes remained. Lavender sachets crushed fresh, like someone had just walked past squeezing them in their fist. I started a private note on my phone. Sept 8. Hallway sconce on at 3:58 a.m. Dim amber glow under bedroom door. Checked empty, light off. September 14th. Woke to soft creak directly overhead, attic floorboards, slow footsteps pacing above bed. Stopped when I sat up. September 19th. Found rocking chair in living room, moving gentle back and forth, stopped the moment I entered room. I ordered cameras. 16 units, Wise and Blink kitchen, living room, pantry, upstairs hallway, aimed at attic pull down, bedroom vent, porch front back, dock, driveway, woods trail, low angle and hallway closet facing ladder, even one in basement pointing at ceiling joists. Early clips innocent. Squirrels on roof, deer on dock. Then September 25th, 2:33 a.m. Hallway closet cam, total dark. Attic ladder cord sways slightly tugged from above. Ladder lowers 6 inches, slow pale hand gripping rung. Shadow descends, crouch stands listening, head cocked toward bedroom door. Retreats up, ladder rises silent. I stared at the clip until my eyes stung. Called county sheriff deputy, arrived 4 hours later, climbed attic, nothing disturbed. Settling beams. Animals in insulation. No footprints in dust, no droppings. Left. Reinforced. Chained attic ladder with bike lock, padlocked closet door, motion floods outside every entrance. Slept with mom's old 20-gauge shotgun birdshot loaded beside bed. Sounds grew bolder. Footsteps in attic, slow, deliberate pacing directly above my bed at night. Pausing when I moved. Breathing deep, wet through ceiling vent, register above headboard. 3 soft knocks from attic floor at 3 a.m. Pause. 3 more, like code. October 2nd, cold front. Power flickered out. Generator in shed, wooden crank, spark, plug wire, cut clean next morning. Darkness absolute except moonlight on lake. Then footsteps overhead, attic pacing hallway length above. Stopped above bedroom. Breathing close hot exhale through vent felt on face when lay frozen. Morning, pulled down attic ladder. Dust thick rafters like ribs. Boxes labeled in mom's handwriting, Christmas. Baby clothes, never used. Dad's hunting gear. Northwest corner behind stack of yellowed newspapers, section of insulation pushed aside. Behind it, hidden space carved into rafter bays and knee walls. Low ceiling sloped, maybe 5 feet high. Carpet remnants down. Thin mattress. Sleeping bag. Plastic bins. Clothes. Men's medium large, hoodies, jeans, some with patches from my old jackets in storage. Canned soup, my brands. Protein bars, exact chocolate, water jugs, solar lantern. Extension cord snaked through soffit vent to unknown outlet. Bucket toilet with lime. And journals 9 composition books. Handwriting small, tight, increasingly frantic. Entries began 2015, year after mom died. October 2015, house empty. First winter alone. Dug deeper attic space. No one comes. Safe. Chronicled empty years. Storms. Wildlife. Rare realtor visits avoided by hiding in woods. My arrival. September 2026. Sun returns. Looks like her young. Alone. Grieving. Unpacked slow. No photos out. Good. September 12th. Left scone crumbs. 8. Testing. Sep 20. Cameras everywhere. Smart. Attic blind spots. Watch vents. Sleeps light. Mutters mom's name. Lonely. Pages detailed everything. Shower length, meals, late night calls to friends crying grief. Pacing when anxious. Night I sobbed over old photo albums, tears, breathing, heart rate guessed. Last entry 7 days prior. Sept 18, ladder chained. Read journals soon? It finds time. Promised your mother I'd guard house. Family secret. She let me stay hidden after dad died. Protect bloodline. You need watcher. Alone. Show peepholes. Explain not intruder. Family. Polaroids taped dim. Me asleep from ceiling vent above bed. Me in shower wall hole. Me crying on porch swing. Last one. Me pulling attic ladder terrified face. Shot from inside hidden space. Breathing started behind stack slow. Excited. Replaced insulation loosely. Ran down. Chained ladder. Barricaded closet. Called sheriff. Arrived space empty. Mattress gone. Bins gone. Only disturbed dust. Heard you coming. Slipped soffit vent or woods path. No prints. Advised vacate immediately. I tried. Motel in Brainerd. But house pulled me back. Nights check locks. Lights. October 14th, cold rain. Drove home 1:20 a.m. Porch light on. Warm bulb. Inside. Tobacco thick. Cinnamon roll smell. Plate crumbs, mom's old china. Chip on rim same. Crumbs fresh. Attic ladder down. Chain cut. Climbed lantern glow from hidden corner. Voice low, cracked almost mom's cadence, but mail wrong. Come up, been waiting. Your mother said blood always returns. I'm Caleb. Your half-brother. Born 78. Secret. Dad never knew. Mom found me later. Let me stay hidden in attic. Guarded house when she was sick. Watched you visit summers. Hid. Promised protect family. Figure stepped out. Late 40s, gaunt, long gray-streaked hair, beard matted, eyes fever bright. Wearing mom's old cardigan, same one from photos. You look like her. Walk same. Sleep same. Cry same. Stay. Teach you attic ways. Quiet life. Not alone anymore. Raised shotgun. Leave. Stepped closer. Can't. Mom said if blood leaves, follow. Family never abandons. Fired warning rafter. Wood splintered. Dropped. Scuttled into knee wall shadows. Ran down. Barricaded. Jeep battery dead cable severed. Sprinted road 2 miles gravel. Flagged passing logger. Sheriff arrived. House empty. Hidden space stripped. Sold as is cash to investor. Now live in secure downtown Minneapolis condo 12th floor, keycard, cameras. Wake at 2:33 a.m. Smell cinnamon rolls. Teacup rinsed mom's china, chip visible, steam rising. Last week, envelope under door. No stamp, inside. Single Polaroid, me asleep here. Timestamp 3:58 a.m. last night. Ceiling vent angle impossible. In shadows behind headboard. Thin figure crouched. Pale hand resting near pillow. Shotgun by bed, loaded. Because sometimes... Slow footsteps. Overhead. 3 knocks on ceiling. Pause. 3 more. Waiting for family to come home. I was 45 in the early months of 2026, barely holding it together in a small rented house in Boise after a brutal year. My father died of a heart attack in his sleep, and my mother followed 3 weeks later from what the doctors called complications, but I knew was grief. They had lived their whole lives in the same 2-story farmhouse on 15 acres outside rural Kansas, the place I grew up in until college. No siblings to share the burden. The house, land, and contents were mine outright. The realtor said it could sell fast as is, but I needed to go through their things first, pack what mattered, and decide if I wanted any part of it. So I drove the 1,200 miles in early February, snow flurrying the whole way, arriving just as the sun set behind the flat horizon. The house looked smaller than memory white clapboard peeling. Wraparound porch sagging under old wisteria vines, tall narrow windows dark. Inside smelled like old wallpaper paste, mom's rose potpourri gone stale, dad's pipe tobacco ghosting the air, and the faint musty sweetness of undisturbed dust. Wide oak floors creaked underfoot, high ceilings with crown molding, living room with brick fireplace, eat-in kitchen, 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1 bathroom, and a small unfinished attic accessed by a pull-down wooden ladder in the upstairs hallway closet ceiling. Basement below dirt floor in spots, stone walls, furnace, washer-dryer, shelves of preserved jars. The first week was numb routine. I sorted clothes, photo albums, dad's tools in the garage, mom's recipe cards in the kitchen drawers. I set up my laptop in the dining room overlooking the backyard where the old swing set rested. Satellite internet was slow but workable for emails. Nights were quiet wind rattling loose shutters, distant coyote calls, house settling with deep groans. I slept in my old childhood bedroom upstairs twin bed, faded posters, quilt mom made when I was 10. The irregularities started small, easy to blame on grief or old house quirks. A coffee mug rinsed and inverted on the drain board when I drank from travel mugs. The hallway sconce glowing dim at dawn bulb warmed I'd flipped every switch off before bed. Fireplace ashes poked and rearranged, embers faintly red when I'd smothered them cold. A single saucer with scone crumbs currants, butter on the kitchen counter, fork clean beside it. Smells crept in next. Fresh apple pie baking around 4 a.m., cinnamon, crust, warm apples oven untouched and cold. Pipe tobacco dad's favorite cherry Cavendish wafting from the upstairs hallway, though no pipes had been lit in years. Rose petals crushed fresh, like someone had just walked past holding mom's old sachets. I began documenting times in my phone notes. Feb 10, hallway light on at 3:59 a.m. Soft amber spill under bedroom door. Checked empty. Light off. February 16th. Woke to slow creak overhead attic floorboards, footsteps pacing above my bed. Stopped when I sat up listening. February 22nd. Found rocking chair in living room, moving gentle back and forth froze the moment I stepped into the doorway. I ordered cameras. 22 units wise and blink combo kitchen, living room, hallway closet, aimed at attic pull down. Bedroom ceiling vent. Porch front back, driveway, garage. Low angle in closet facing ladder, even one in the basement pointing at ceiling joists for any weirdness below. Early clips mundane. Wind-blown branches, rabbits in snow. Then March 1st, 2:41 a.m. Hallway closet cam. Pitch black. Attic ladder cord sways tugged gently from above. Ladder lowers 8 inches slow pale hand gripping rung. Shadow descends, crouched tall stands motionless for 68 seconds, head turned toward my bedroom door. Retreats upward. Ladder rises without noise. I stared at the footage until my vision blurred. Called the county sheriff deputy, took 5 hours in the snow. Climbed the attic, nothing out of place. Old houses creak. Squirrels or raccoons can move cords. No footprints in thick dust, no droppings, no displaced boxes. He left with a shrug. I fortified. Chained the attic ladder with heavy padlock. Bolted the closet door from outside. Added motion floodlights on every exterior corner. Nailed plywood over the bulkhead basement access from inside. Slept with dad's old Winchester. 30-30 leva action loaded, chambered propped against the headboard. The noises intensified. Footsteps in the attic deliberate, measured pacing directly above my bed at night. Pausing when I shifted. Breathing slow, slightly wheezy through the ceiling vent, register right over my pillow. 3 soft knocks on the attic floor at 3 a.m. Pause. 3 more. Like a signal. March 9th ice storm knocked power out. Backup generator in the garage wouldn't turn over, spark plug wire sliced clean the next day. Darkness complete except moonlight on snow through windows. Then footsteps overhead, attic pacing the length of the hallway above. Stopped above my bedroom. Breathing close warm exhale through vent felt on my face when I lay rigid, shotgun grip tight. Morning, I yanked the attic ladder down. Dust thick as fog, rafters heavy. Boxes labeled in mom's neat script. Christmas ornaments, baby clothes never used, raised tools. Northeast corner behind a stack of moth-eaten blankets, insulation bats, pushed aside revealing a gap between knee walls and rafters. Behind it, hidden space carved into the attic bays. Low sloped ceiling, about 5 feet high at peak. Carpet remnants from downstairs laid down. Thin mattress pad. Sleeping bag. Plastic bins. Clothes, men's medium large, wool sweaters like dad's, jeans. Socks, some with threads from my old childhood quilt. Canned peaches, mom's brand. Protein bars, my exact almond variety. Water bottles, solar lantern, charged. Extension cord through soffit vent to unknown outlet. Bucket toilet with baking soda. And notebooks 14 spiral bound, pages filled front to back. Handwriting small, controlled, growing more frantic over years. Entry started 2013, 2 years before mom's death. August 2013, house quiet. Dug deeper attic space. No one hears. Safe. Chronicled the years. Weather, wildlife, occasional repairman visits avoided by hiding in woods. My family's visits, then my parents' deaths. February 2025. Parents gone. House empty months. Then son returns. Looks like father young, alone, grieving, unpacks carefully. No visitors. Ideal. February 18th. Left scone crumbs 8. Testing. March 5th. Cameras installed. Very cautious. Attic blind spots. Watch vents. Sleeps restless. Mutters mother's name. Lonely. Pages detailed my routines. Shower times, meals eaten, late night grief calls to old friends. Pacing when anxious. The night I cried over old family video sobs. Breathing, pulse, guessed through floorboards. Last entry 10 days earlier. February 20th. Ladder chained. Will discover journals soon? If find space? Time. Promised your parents I'd guard house. Family secret. They discovered me years ago. Let's stay hidden. Protect the bloodline. You need someone now. Alone. I'll show the peepholes. Explain we're not strangers. We're family. Polaroids taped inside. Me asleep in bed from ceiling vent above. Me in shower drilled wall hole. Me crying on porch after sorting photos. Last one. Me pulling attic ladder, my horrified face looking up, shot from inside the hidden space. Breathing began slow, thick, right behind the blanket stack. I shoved insulation back, slammed the ladder up, chained it tight, barricaded closet door with dresser, called sheriff again. They arrived, space empty, only disturbed dust and screw holes. Heard you. Slipped soffit vent or tree line, deputy said. Long term. Professional. Will dust, but snow covers tracks. I never stayed another night. Packed essentials, drove to nearest motel in Salina. Listed house as is, quick sale. Sold in a week to a flipper. Now I rent a secure mid-rise apartment in downtown Boise, 8th floor, doorman, hallway cameras. But I wake at 2:41 a.m., smell apple pie. Find rinsed teacup on counter, mom's old china, faint rose pattern, steam curling. Last week, envelope slid under door. No stamp, inside, Polaroid, me asleep here. Time stamp 3:59 a.m. last night. Ceiling vent, angle impossible. Shadows, crouched figure, pale hand near my ankle. I keep Winchester by bed, loaded, chambered, because sometimes. Slow footsteps, overhead, 3 knocks on ceiling, pause, 3 more. Waiting for family to come home. I was 46 in March 2026, living paycheck to paycheck in a noisy apartment complex in Columbus, Ohio, when the probate lawyer called. My grandparents, Nana Ruth and Papa George, had both passed within 6 weeks of each other the previous fall. Nana from a stroke, Papa from what the doctors politely called failure to thrive after losing her. They had no other grandchildren, and the old Victorian house on the edge of a small town in southern Ohio was left to me. Built in 1892, 3 stories tall, wraparound porch, turret room, high gabled roof. Original hardwood floors, pocket doors, stained glass transoms, and a full unfinished basement with stone walls and dirt floor sections. The place had been in the family since 1920. No mortgage, taxes low, but maintenance deferred for decades. I figured I'd stay a month or two, sort their things, fix what I could, and list it. Remote freelance copywriting meant I could work from anywhere, and the quiet might help me finally process everything. The drive south took 4 hours highway to rural route to a narrow paved road lined with sycamores. The house stood alone at the end of a gravel lane, paint flaking in long gray curls, porch swing creaking in the wind, tall windows staring blank. Inside smelled of aged cedar, old books, mothballs, Nana's lavender sachets gone powdery, and the faint metallic tang of rust from the radiators. Wide central staircase parlor with bay window formal dining room kitchen with wood-burning cookstove, 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1 small bath, and a large attic running the full length of the house accessed by a pull-down staircase in the upstairs hallway ceiling. Basement below dark, damp stone foundation, coal chute long sealed, shelves of preserved jars, old washing machine. First weeks were methodical grief work. I sorted clothes, Nana's floral dresses, Papa's flannel shirts, photo albums, black and white weddings. Me as a toddler on Papa's lap. Dad's tools in the garage. Nana's recipe box filled with yellowed index cards. I sat at my desk in the sun parlor overlooking the backyard where the old apple tree still stood, branches heavy with last year's frozen fruit. Internet was DSL, slow, but functional. Nights were still crickets in summer fading to silence, wind rattling shutters, house settling with deep, irregular groans. I slept in the guest bedroom upstairs 4-poster bed, heavy quilt smelling faintly of Nana's perfume. The disturbances began so quietly I convinced myself they were nothing. A teacup rinsed and set on the drainboard when I drank from mugs. The hallway sconce glowing dim at 4 a.m. bulb, warm though, every switch had been off. Cookstove embers red in the morning when I damped them dead. A single dessert plate with shortbread crumbs, rich butter, sugar dusting on the kitchen counter, fork placed neatly. Smells arrived uninvited. Fresh cinnamon rolls baking at 3 a.m. Yeast dough, icing glaze oven untouched. Pipe tobacco Papa's old Prince Albert cherry drifting from the parlor, though no pipes had been smoked since the 1990s. Lavender crushed fresh like someone had just walked past squeezing Nana's old sachets between their fingers. I started a private timeline in my notes app. March 12th. Hallway sconce on at 3:41 a.m. Steady glow under bedroom door. Checked empty. Off. March 18th. Woke to soft thump behind parlor wall weight shifting. Stopped when I pressed my ear to the wallpaper. March 24th. Found Nana's rocking chair in the parlor. Moving slow creak froze the instant I entered. I bought cameras. 26 units, Wise, Blink, Ring kitchen, parlor, hallway. Upstairs closet, pull-down attic view, bedroom vent, porch front backside, driveway, garage, basement stairs, low angle and hallway facing walls. Even one in the basement ceiling pointing at joists. Early clips benign. Wind, stray cats. Then April 3rd, 1:49 a.m. parlor cam. Darkness. Section of wainscoting behind the grandfather clock bulges 2 inches, slow pale fingers emerge. Push panel aside. Shadow slides out, crouch tall stands listening toward staircase. Retreats inside. Panel closes flush. I watched until nausea rose. Called county sheriff deputy, arrived 6 hours later. Inspected walls, attic, basement, nothing. Old plaster shifts. Rodents. No disturbed dust, no openings visible. Left. I fortified. Screwed wainscoting panels tight, added deadbolts everywhere. Motion floodlights on all sides, reinforced attic ladder with chain and padlock. Nailed plywood over basement bulkhead from inside. Slept with Papa's old 12-gauge double-barrel buckshot loaded propped against the knitstand. Sounds escalated. Movement inside walls slow crawling parallel to my path through rooms. Pausing when I paused. Breathing deep, slightly congested through wall registers and baseboard gaps in parlor, bedroom, kitchen. 3 deliberate knocks from behind plaster at night. Pause. 3 more, April 11th spring storm. Power cut. Generator in garage dead, fuel line severed. Blackout except lightning flashes across lake. Then scraping behind parlor wall pacing length of room. Stopped behind grandfather clock. Hot breath exhaled through hairline crack and wainscoting felt on my neck when I stood frozen. Morning. Pride parlor wainscoting behind clock. Plaster lathe cut away years ago. Panel screwed back mismatched. Unscrewed. Behind wall. Narrow vertical space between studs and exterior sheathing expanded into room 7 feet tall, 4 feet wide, 30 inches deep. Carpet scraps down. Thin mattress. Sleeping bag. Bins. Clothes, men's large, sweaters like papa's, jeans, some with threads from my childhood blanket. Canned soup, my brands. Bars, exact, land and solar. Cord through drilled hole in exterior wall, bucket toilet, journals 16 notebooks. Handwriting neat 2005 Papa's retirement year. July 2005, house quiet. Dug deeper wall space. No one knows. Years empty. Weather, family visits noted from peepholes. My grandparents' lives, then deaths. March 2025, Ruth and George gone. House empty, then grandson returns. Looks like George young, alone, grieving, unpacks slow. No family left. Perfect. March 20th, left shortbread, 8. Testing. April 1. Cameras. Smart. Wall blind spots. Watch registers. Sleeps light. Mutters Nana's name. Lonely. Detailed. Showers timed, meals, calls grieving, pacing, night sobbed over album's tears, breaths, pulse through plaster. Last entry 11 days prior. March 23rd. Wainscoting screwed. Read journals soon? Time. Promised Ruth and George guardhouse. Family secret. They found me 2004 let stay hidden. Protect blood. Grandson needs watcher. Alone. Show peepholes. Explain not intruder. Family. Polaroids. Me asleep from register behind headboard. Showering wall hole. Crying parlor. Last. Prying wainscoting terrified face from inside space. Breathing close, excited behind me. Replaced panel loosely. Ran up. Locked all. Barricaded parlor door. Called sheriff. Arrived space empty. Holes only. Slipped exterior vent or crawl out. No prints. Advised vacate. Tried motel in town. Pulled back nights. April 22nd rain. Drove home 1:05 a.m. Porch light on. Warm. Inside. Tobacco thick. Cinnamon rolls smell. Plate crumbs Nana's china. Rose pattern. Crumbs fresh. Parlor wainscoting panel ajar. Inside space lantern glow. Voice low, cracked, almost Papa's but wrong. Come in. Waiting. Ruth and George said blood returns. I'm Elias. Your uncle. Born 79. Secret. Papa never knew. Ruth found me. Let's stay hidden. Guarded house. Watched visits. Hid. Promised protect. Figure. 40s. Gaunt. Gray hair. Beard. Eyes bright. Papa's old cardigan. You look him. Walk same. Sleep same. Cry same. Stay. Teach wallways. Not alone. Raised shotgun. Leave. Closer. Can't. Ruth said follow blood. Family abandons never. Fired warning plaster. Dust. Dropped, scuttled into wall shadows. Ran out. Barricaded. Car dead cables cut. Ran road 3 miles gravel. Flagged passing truck. Sheriff came. Empty. Sold cash as is. Now secure Columbus, high-rise 10th floor. Wake 1:49 a.m. Smell cinnamon rolls. Teacup rinsed Nana's china, steam rising. Last week envelope. Polaroid me asleep. Timestamp 3:41 a.m. Last night. Wall register angle. Shadows. Crouched. Hand near pillow. Shotgun by bed. Loaded. Late nights. Scraping inside walls. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. Waiting family home. I was 49 in the summer of 2026, living alone in a small overpriced apartment in Cleveland, Ohio when the estate attorney's letter arrived in a plain white envelope. My Aunt Margaret, my mother's older sister, the eccentric recluse who never married and rarely left her sprawling Victorian mansion in rural western Pennsylvania, had died quietly in her sleep. No children, no close friends, no one else in the family wanted anything to do with the place. The will left the entire property to me. The 1887 3-story brick mansion on 12 wooded acres. The carriage house, the overgrown gardens, the pond, and every dusty piece of furniture inside. Taxes were current, utilities still on. She had kept them active even in her final years. And the house had been appraised at a surprising figure for being so remote. I could sell it as is for a life-changing amount. But first I had to inventory it, decide what to keep, and deal with the memories I had spent most of my adult life avoiding. The drive took 6 hours highway to winding state roads to a narrow private lane lined with ancient maples and hemlocks. The mansion appeared through the trees like something out of a faded Gothic novel. Tall brick facade with gingerbread trim peeling wraparound porch sagging under wisteria vines 3 stories of tall. Narrow windows, steep mansard roof with dormer's widow's walk at the top. Inside smelled of old varnish, mothballs, dried lavender, yellowed paper, and the faint metallic rust of long unused radiators. Ornate hardwood floors, high ceilings with plaster medallions, pocket doors, grand staircase with carved newel posts, parlor with bay, window and velvet drapes, formal dining room kitchen with cast iron, cook stove, 4 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, 2 baths, a 3rd floor servants, quarters with low ceilings and a massive attic running the full length of the house accessed by a narrow pull-down staircase in the 3rd floor hallway. Basement below fieldstone walls, dirt floor in parts, coal furnace long converted to oil, shelves of preserved fruits, old trunks. The first weeks were slow, methodical, emotionally draining. I sorted china patterns I remembered from childhood holidays, photo albums showing me as a toddler on Aunt Margaret's lap, Dad's old tools in the carriage house, Mom's childhood dresses still hanging in the 3rd floor wardrobe. I set up my laptop in the sun parlor, overlooking the pond where fireflies used to dance at dusk. Satellite internet was sluggish, but enough for work. Nights were heavy silence whined in the trees. Distant train whistle miles away. House settling with deep wooden sighs and occasional pops like gunshots. I slept in the 2nd floor guest bedroom 4-poster bed. Heavy brocade quilt smelling faintly of mothballs and Aunt Margaret's rose water. The disturbances began so subtly I dismissed them for weeks. A porcelain teacup rinsed and set on the drainboard when I drank from mugs. The hallway sconce on the 3rd floor glowing dim at 4 a.m. Bulbs still warm, though I had never gone up there after dark and every switch was off. Cook stove embers red in the morning when I had banked them dead. A single dessert plate with shortbread crumbs, butter, sugar, almond extract on the kitchen island, fork placed neatly. Smells arrived uninvited. Fresh cinnamon rolls baking at 3:30 a.m., yeast dough, icing glaze, warm spice oven stone cold. Pipe tobacco grandfather, old cherry blend thick and sweet in the 3rd floor hallway, though no pipes had been lit since the 1980s. Lavender sachets crushed fresh like someone had just walked past squeezing them in their fist. I started documenting obsessively in a private note app. July 11th. 3rd floor sconce on at 3:52 a.m. Soft amber glow leaking around pull-down staircase. Checked empty. Light off. July 17th. Woke to slow creak behind 3rd floor hallway, wall weight shifting. Stopped when I pressed my ear to the plaster. July 23rd. Found Aunt Margaret's rocking chair in the parlor, moving gentle back and forth froze the instant I stepped into the doorway. I ordered cameras. 32 units wise, blink ring mix kitchen parlor, 3rd floor. Hallway, aimed at pull-down attic staircase. Bedroom ceiling vent porch front, backside. Driveway pond trail, low angle and hallway facing walls. Even one in the basement pointing at ceiling joists and one inside the 3rd floor servants' quarters closet. Early clips benign. Wind, stray cats, fireflies. Then August 2nd, 2:08 a.m., 3rd floor hallway cam. Absolute dark. Pull-down staircase cord sways tugged gently from above. Ladder lowers 7 inches slow pale hand-gripping rung. Shadow descends crouched tall stands motionless for 94 seconds, head turned toward 2nd floor staircase. Retreats upward. Ladder rises without noise. I watched until my stomach turned. Called county sheriff deputy arrived 7 hours later due to rural response times. Climbed attic, inspected walls, basement nothing. Old plaster moves. Squirrels or bats. No footprints in dust, no displaced insulation, no visible openings. Left. I fortified aggressively. Chained the attic ladder with heavy padlock and bike chain. Bolted the 3rd floor closet door from outside. Added motion floodlights on every exterior corner and dormer. Screwed plywood over basement bulkhead from inside, nailed boards across any loose wall panels I could find. Slept with grandfather's old 12-gauge side-by-side double-barrel buckshot, loaded propped against the nightstand. The sounds grew impossible to ignore. Movement inside 3rd floor walls, slow crawling parallel to my path when I walked the hallway. Pausing when I paused. Breathing deep, slightly congested through wall registers and baseboard gaps in parlor, bedroom, third floor landing. 3 deliberate knocks from behind plaster at night. Pause. 3 more. August 10th severe thunderstorm. Power cut. Backup generator in carriage house wouldn't start, spark plug wire cut clean the next morning. Darkness complete except lightning flashes across the pond. Then footsteps in the third floor walls pacing the length of the hallway above. Stopped behind the servants' quarters wall. Hot breath exhaled through hairline crack and plaster felt on my neck when I stood rigid, shotgun gripped. Morning. I tore into third floor hallway wall behind the servants' quarters closet. Plaster lathe cut away decades ago. Panel screwed back mismatched. Unscrewed. Behind wall, narrow vertical crawl space expanded into hidden room 8 feet tall. 5 feet wide, 36 inches deep. Carpet remnants from downstairs. Thin mattress pad. Sleeping bag. Plastic bins. Clothes. Men's large wool cardigans like grandfather's jeans, some with threads from my childhood blankets stored in attic. Canned peaches, Aunt Margaret's brand. Protein bars, my exact almond variety. Water jugs, solar lantern. Extension cord through soffit vent to unknown outlet. Bucket toilet with baking soda. And notebooks 22 spiral bound, pages filled front to back. Handwriting small, precise, obsessive. Entries began 1991 year grandfather died. November 1991. George gone. House quiet. Dug deeper wall space. No one knows. Chronicled empty years. Weather, wildlife, family visits noted from hidden peepholes drilled through walls. My childhood summers, Aunt Margaret's solitude, parents' occasional visits. March 2026. Grandnephew returns. Looks like George young, alone, grieving, unpacks slow. No visitors, perfect. July 10th. Left shortbread, 8. Testing. July 30th. Cameras everywhere. Very cautious. Wall blind spots. Watch registers. Sleeps restless. Mutters aunt's name. Lonely. Pages detailed everything. Shower times, meals eaten, late night grief calls, pacing patterns. Night I sobbed over old family letters, described sobs, breathing, pulse through plaster. Last entry dated 14 days earlier, July 19th. Wall panel screwed. We'll discover notebooks soon? Time. Promised your aunt I'd guard mansion. Family secret. She found me 1990. Let stay hidden. Protect the bloodline. Grandnephew needs watcher. Alone. Show peepholes. Explain not intruder. Family. Polaroids taped inside. Me asleep from register behind headboard. Me in shower drilled wall hole. Me crying on porch after sorting photos. Last one. Me prying third floor wall, my horrified face looking straight at camera, taken from inside hidden space. Breathing started slow, thick, right behind me. I shoved panel back loosely, ran downstairs. Padlocked everything. Barricaded parlor door. Called sheriff again. They arrived, space empty. Only disturbed dust and screw holes. Heard you, slipped soffit vent or tree line, deputy said. Decades long, very organized. We'll get forensics. But rain washes everything. I never stayed another night. Packed essentials, drove to nearest motel in Erie, listed mansion, as is, cash only, no questions. Sold in 12 days to an investor. Now I live in a secure downtown Cleveland high-rise 11th floor. P-card access, cameras in every hallway. But I still wake at 1:49 a.m., smell cinnamon rolls. Find rinsed teacup on counter Aunt Margaret's old china, faint rose pattern, steam curling. Last week. Envelope slid under door. No stamp, inside, single Polaroid. Me, asleep in my current bed. Timestamp scribbled in black pen, 3:52 a.m. 6 nights ago. Shot from wall register angle impossible. In the bottom corner, barely in frame. A pale, thin hand resting on the mattress edge near my ankle. I keep the shotgun beside the bed. Loaded. Chambered. Safety off. Because sometimes very late when the building is quiet. I hear slow scraping. Inside the walls. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. Patient. Waiting for family to come home.